texting. And we're going to learn the three things about texting. One, how it affects our linguistic abilities, and how it affects our communication as far as face-to-face communication, and also how it affects our emotional intelligence. So you're probably wondering why I picked texting. It's because of my self-observation of the students that I'm working with ever since I went to college. They don't seem to have the ability to communicate in the chat rooms or via email. Either they don't answer you at all, or they say something as simple as, I don't care, or I don't know, or I'll check into it. I mean, just a few words, no content. So another thing, as you heard the tones right here, that I'm talking to my grandson, and all of a sudden his cell phone will ring. He got a text, so he grabs for his cell phone. Immediately he goes to answering the text. He doesn't care that he was talking with me or that it interrupted our conversation at all, even though I thought it was rather disrespectful. That's his way of mode that they actually are triggered by these vibrations or tones or rings, and they immediately have to know what's going on in the world and often have to respond to it immediately. So I feel that's an addiction caused by texting. Another thing I heard on the news the other day was the fact that the recruiters are saying they can't find people for positions, to fill positions, because the graduates that are coming out for applicant, that are applying for the jobs are unable to communicate. And what does the academic research say about texting? It's students are texting in class, that's a given. And the reason they're texting is because they're not fully engaged, or they need to relieve stress, because they are under a lot of stress when they're in college full time. So this stress factor is relieved by them just reading a text real quick or jumping to Facebook real quick, and then they can rejuvenate and actually re-engage in the studies. They say this is a positive. However, the neurologists are saying that this multitasking is keeping us from being able to, our brains don't have the ability to interpret and process the information effectively. Well, we're multitasking, but that isn't true for the net generation. The net generation, and they're either playing a game or playing with a toy or doing a color paper. Well, it starts in their, as a toddler, and they've been raised with that all along, so they've trained the cortex, the prefrontal cortex of their brain, that they can efficiently. So in that case, they're able to take a text, receive a text, and read it in class, and it doesn't affect actually it improves their GPA when they take messages like that in class. And they are finding that, I can't even think. Darn it.
Just keep going, it's all right.
Anyway, it improves their GPA, and they're allowing technologies in class because it allows them to be comfortable, because they're so used to the multitasking and having the PC or the cell phone with them, and also it improves their GPA. Now, as far as the studies goes, what the academic research indicates, when they research children in the preteens, and this was Coventry College, I believe, and they found out that with texting and their literacy abilities, and they also determined that the abbreviations that they use, the text abbreviations, are actually phonically based. So with the children and their literacy, creativity. Now, if you move up to the middle school, they studied 500 middle schools at Penn State, and Penn State came to the conclusion that texting actually hinders their ability to change, to switch from the text speak to the normal grammar rules. So they related that to to lower scores in grammar. So as we move up to the high school and the college grades, they found at the University of California that the texting actually improved their informal writing skills, but there was a negative effect on their formal writing skills. But when they did a study, another study about the effects of texting in class, and it indicated that texting in class actually took a negative effect on your abilities. So some of the other effects that we experience from texting is our face-to-face communication. And just like any other technology, radio, television, the newspaper, as far as that goes, any media displaces face-to-face communication. But they're saying that the over-excessive use of texting in the workplace is affecting negatively on the quality of communication. Well, that's a given, because if you think about it, 93% of our communication is our body language, our eye-to-eye contact, our tone of voice, all that. And when you're texting, you're losing 93% of interpersonal communication. Understand what people are saying to one another and cause confusion in the workplace. Three things that I've learned from this. Oh, the third thing is that your emotional intelligence is affected by texting. And the reason for that is we're losing all that face-to-face communication. So with the emotional intelligence, we eventually are going to lose our ability to see the cues in our language, to understand language. And it's going to lead to problems with us, problem-solving problems, and also being able to cope with life's demands, and eventually it's going to hurt us, impact our full quality of life, all because of texting. So what I've learned from all this is that, one, think I was on a baby boomer, because maybe I'll be able to communicate better in an interview and get that job where the next generation won't be able to. And two, I've learned that when I'm intensely doing my studies, eventually I get this feeling that I just need to pull away, and I just flip over to Facebook or my email just for a couple seconds or so, and it refreshes me. And now I understand why I do that, because then I'm able to re-engage in my studies. And the third thing is, I think all of us should actually set up controls of how we're going to handle the negative parts of texting and modern technologies, because it sounds like they can make some really bad things if we let it become addictive. So I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate the last minute thing.
There you go.
I did terrible, but thank you very much.
You did good. It's hard.
It's good.
What you have to do is visualize everybody